It's our first tech on PTCGO, it's ADP Zacian. Welcome back everyone to more from the Stabilize. I'm Mitch, and today we finally have access to PTCGO. We've got Darkness Ablaze cards ready and raring to go, so we are going to be jumping on to the official client now, and the first deck we're going to take a look at is ADP Zacian. This deck looks to be one of, if not the top deck for this format. It has lost absolutely nothing in rotation, and if anything, gets a little bit stronger with some extra consistency cards. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at a list that has a few options for you. It's not going to be a very consistent one. We've not got Jirachi in it because, you know, we've not been able to fit the space to put all of the different techs in, but I think it's going to be interesting to take a look at this list. Before we jump onto the client though, please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Click the button down below to do that. It only takes a second, and you can always unsubscribe if you'd like. And whilst you're there, give this video a big thumbs up, give it a like if you are excited for Darkness Ablaze. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, let's jump across now and see how this list is going to work. So here we go, our first look at these cards on PTCGO. Look at this, Crobat, what a card. This card is going to be very expensive for a long time, so if you manage to find one on the cheap, then do pick it up. We're playing one in this list, but it's not the main thing that I want to talk about. Obviously, ADP and Zacian have existed in the same deck for a very long time now, and are still just as good in Darkness Ablaze, obviously being able to use Altered Creation and Ultimate Ray to take multiple prizes on GX Pokemon like the Dene, and then powering up attackers like Zacian is very good. But beyond that, we now have access to a new card called Turbo Patch. This card, very, very powerful, and allows us to set up different attackers than we'd normally be using. It's a little bit more flexibility, and it means we're more likely to be able to get those energy attached early. So we're going to try and utilize Turbo Patch as often as we can. If we flip heads, we can attach an energy from our discard pile to one of our benched basic Pokemon, sorry, that is not a Pokemon GX. And that opens up the kind of swathe of attackers here to create a big gamut of threats. We can use the new, or the old Zamazenta, sorry, with Dauntless Shield, which has suddenly become a much more powerful card. The fact that lots of VMAX Pokemon are now floating around the format means Zamazenta can potentially set up situations which are quite difficult for our opponents to deal with. Specifically Eternatus, this card is going to do very well against. We can discard hide dark energies with Assault Tackle and deal 130 damage whilst they aren't able to make knockouts on us. Very, very good. And also, if we want, we can use the Melodic V card from our original Rebel Clash set and utilize Aqua Impact. Lots of the VMAX cards coming out of this set are fire typed, so we want to deal with things like Center Scorch or Charizard VMAX. Aqua Impact could be good enough to do the job. The best thing about the ADP Zacian list as well is that it is very flexible against some of the more kind of meta counter decks that are going to come out with this set. Specifically Decidueye. Decidueye seems pretty good. We can just chuck in a copy of Duraludon from the Rebel Clash set and use Power Beam. It does 110, but when we get the extra 30 from our ADP, we can deal 140, which will take a knockout on a Decidueye. So that is super, super good. Duraludon, a very solid option for dealing with those kind of decks. We also already mentioned Crobat giving us that little bit of extra consistency, which is very, very nice. Now, we're not running Jirachi in this deck at the moment. Like I said, this is not necessarily the most consistent version of this deck. It's just going to test out some of these tech options. If you're not expecting Decidueye, don't play Duraludon. If you're not expecting to see any Fire VMAXs, don't play Melodic. And obviously, if Eternatus doesn't end up being as good as it should be, then Zamazenta could possibly go as well. The rest of the list does look very, very similar to a traditional ADPZ list. There's Cherish Balls and Spinners and Great Catcher, Metal Saucer, obviously the old favorite, Energy Acceleration, but more importantly, I think there's this card here, Cape of Toughness. Regardless of how this deck goes, I think this card is going to see play in ADP Zacian, because giving Zacian 50 HP is really, really strong. We take a look at the numbers on this card. It's got 220 HP and deals 230. If we use the GX attack from ADP, that'll do 260. 260 obviously does 220 damage, but 220 plus 50 is 270. So if we can get ourselves a Cape of Toughness, there is every chance we can use a Zacian to tank a hit from another Zacian, which is a big, big call. If that happens, then we are probably going to go on to win a game. That's why we've also got Tool Scrapper as well, so we can get rid of opponents' Capes of Toughness. That seems very, very powerful. If you are looking to build a more streamlined version of this list, then adding in things like Scoop Up Net and Jirachi would be really good. And then if you do that, then you'll be able to use something like Galarian Zigzagoon. You can combo that with the Scoop Up Nets. Maybe you don't need this Tool Scrapper because obviously 260 plus 10 is 270, which will knock out a Zacian with that cape on anyway. So could potentially be a counter to that, maybe a little bit more flexible as well, but we figure that this is probably going to be the best way to show off all of these different techs at once. What we'll do is we'll jump into a game and hopefully we can finish one quickly and show off how this deck works. So on the ladder now, there have obviously been some slight updates. We are up against Dan Butler 96 here. Remember, in the first couple of weeks of the format, there are going to be some issues with people playing cards that aren't standard legal. This is a horrific start for us. We've got Crobat V straight away into the active. Not ideal at all. We do have Turbo Patch and Energy Switch, so if we find something, that would be great, but this is not ideal. Snom, obviously a bad start for our, or not a bad start for our opponent, but it's a good sign for us in that we will be able to potentially give ourselves some extra time to set something up here. We missed the Zacian, which does suck, but if we find a Quick Ball or a Cherish Ball off of the top deck, I think we'll be living the dream. We'll see whether or not we can get the GX attack off nice and quickly. I am very interested to see how lots of these decks work going forward. Obviously, like I was saying before, there are going to be some non-standard legal cards floating around, but that's just obviously because rotation hasn't happened on PTCGO yet, so we can't expect that to happen as quickly as we would like, but that's okay. We will be more than happy to just play through this game and see how we go. Now, we're probably going to have to research next turn, which does suck because we're going to lose a lot of the cards that we really wanted to utilize this turn. Missing out on another Pokemon is going to be a big, big problem. But what we can do if we do find ourselves another Pokemon is at least retreat from our Crobat and then Turbo Patch. That might be able to get us into a situation where we can attack next turn, but I'm not 100% sure. Lapras VMAX, obviously a card that could potentially deal a lot of damage coming in this format here. Expandable damage, very, very good. We're getting Marnied here, which is not too bad for us, actually, although these cards are absolutely horrific. We are, again, going to be looking for something to get us going here. A Quick Ball would actually not be too bad, but I'm not entirely sure that it's going to be enough to help us in this matchup. We'll see how we go. Oh, a Quick Ball. Okay, so we can at least do this. I can get rid of a Metal Energy. We can go like this. Grab ourselves an ADP, I think is probably best, just to give ourselves the chance. That seems fine. This is not necessarily an amazing play, but it does get us access to a GX attack if we can get out of the active and find a Water Energy. So we'll see what we can do. Not ideal, but this is okay because we can just go like this. We can Metal Saucer. We might just have to sacrifice the Crobat and we'll Intrepid Sword. Not a lot going on here for us. This is obviously us missing out on those Jirachis. Definitely would recommend them if you are interested in playing this deck in a slightly more consistent manner. Here comes that Lapras VMAX, but that's pretty much all that they are doing here. So we can actually take a knockout on this Articuno, and I'm actually happy to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this energy here. We'll just switch into the Zacian. We'll attach that Toughness Cape. How much retreat cost does that have? 3. I don't think it ever, Melodic ever really comes up here. This is fine. We've got ourselves a Turbo Patch for later. which I don't mind. We'll play down this other Zacian, and then we will Brave Blade, remove that one energy that they have from their field, and then go from there. We could have potentially used the Dene to try and find some more cards, but we're not really in a massive rush at all. As long as we can get ourselves something, we should be okay. Energy Spin next turn could find us access to a water energy, which would be great. They found research there, so they are going to be able to find themselves a whole bunch of extra cards. They need quite a lot of energy on this Lapras to take a knockout on the Zacian, and even if that is the case, we will be able to just retreat it. We've got Metal Saucer and Turbo Patch as options, so not bad at all. Looks like they're going to grab a couple of energy. They'll Ice Dance those onto the Lapras. And we'll probably see an attack here, although it won't be for a lot. We're going to have to hope that off of this, the Dene, we are able to find access to either a Metal Energy or an Energy Switch, which might actually be a bit tough because we've already used 2 of them. So I'm not entirely sure what our plan is if that doesn't work out. We might be in a bit of strife here, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. We've got a lot of cards coming down here from our opponent. There comes the Frostmoth and an Articuno. Okay, so they don't have any other cards, and they've got no space on their bench. So I'm feeling pretty solid. No matter what happens here, I think we're... Oh, this is pretty solid. This is pretty good, actually. Okay, we're gonna Energy Spinner. We're going to get ourselves... Are we at the point now where we just get Metal Energies and just attack with Zacian? I think we might be. Let's just do this. Let's get a Metal Energy. We'll attach it to Crobat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch into Crobat. I'm going to retreat. Yes. I don't know why my game is now telling me all these things. We're going to retreat into the Zacian so we can get ourselves another attack off. And we'll attach that energy there. Because Turbo Patch I can attach to the active if I have to. We'll deal 230 damage to the Lapras, and if we can take a knockout, then the game is very much over. They're just going to G-Max Pump here. We will be able to... Oh, look at that. They've managed to find extra energy. That's pretty solid. So they can attach those to their Lapras if they'd like. As long as we can find ourselves access to 1 energy... Flip Heads on Turbo Patch will be living the dream. We'll be able to attack with our Zacian on the bench. We'll promote that here, and hopefully we can find what we are looking for. I'm going to take a couple of prizes, which is disappointing. But, you know, I'm happy. I'm ready to flip heads on this Turbo Patch. That seems fine by me. Turbo Patch, here we go. What a card. Okay, well, this is bad now. We're going to do Dene. We're going to try and find something else. We've got an energy. Oh, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. But that's okay, because we can do this. We can do this. And we can do this. Not great. Not great at all. They're going to be able to half hit us here. And we could be in a lot of trouble. But that's okay. We've still got access to Zamazenta if we would like it. They probably can't knock us out. They're going to Marnie us. Okay, so they managed to find a supporter. I've actually played this really poorly. I played this really poorly from the very start when I didn't put Jirachi in this deck. I think that could potentially be part of the problem, but that's okay. We will come out on top, I'm sure. As long as they don't take a knockout on this Zacian, I'm actually feeling really, really good. We've got another access to Turbo Patch down here, so another coin flip. If we can manage it, we'll be able to get ourselves into something. If not a knockout, then something, which would be very, very good. Looks like the Ordinary Rod for our opponent is the option. They're going to put a couple of water energies back, and that's it. That will get access to them through Capacious Bucket, so we might be seeing them go onto the Lapras. Maybe, oh, look at this, they're going for the Articuno, right? So they're going to move the energy from the Articuno to the bench. That seems pretty solid. Now we need to find ourselves access to Boss, which we do have. We have them, but we probably want to get access to that so we can take a knockout on this Lapras this turn. Oh, look at that. Perfect stuff. Okay, so let's flip this coin. We've managed to find our heads, which is good news for us. So we'll attach that there. We're going to play down Zamazenta. And we will gust out the Lapras. Oh, which we can't do because of the Blizzard Veil. Oh my god, what a ding-a-ling. Oh my word. Oh my god. You can tell I haven't played against Articuno in a long time. This is fine. This is okay. Because we can still do this. This is the play now. This is the play. Flipping heads? Flipping heads? Nice. Okay. This is the play now. This is what we're doing. We're doing this. We're doing this now. We are attacking with Zamazenta. It's gonna be fine. It's not a problem. Post in the comments how dumb I am. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not very and 10 being exceptionally, tell me how dumb I am for that terrible, terrible play. Oh, it was one of those ones where you just go, oh yeah, no, this is fine. This is going to be fun. This is going to be absolutely fine. And then it wasn't fine. It wasn't fine, guys. It was not fine. It was less than fine. Now I've been left with almost nothing. I'm going to lose this game. Now I'm going to go on to lose to this random Lapras deck. They are retreating. So that's not ideal for them. We are now looking at a potential deck out situation because 5 cards for our opponent is not great. Yeah, I hope you haven't come to this video hoping to see high quality gameplay, because this is not it. Like, you're looking in the wrong place. We are seeing an energy retrieval here, so they are going to get a couple of energy. Here comes an Articuno, so they could potentially be doing something with that. There's a VMAX. If they evolve that Lapras V, then there's going to be almost nothing that they could realistically do, because they need to attack with this Lapras. They can't attack with the Lapras V because obviously Zamazenta's Dauntless Shield ability means that they can't deal with that. Yeah, we're in this really weird spot where I actually think that we're going to win by deck out, which is kind of dumb, frankly. This is kind of ridiculous. We never managed to GX. We probably should have just done that as well. We've just played this game exceptionally poorly. But that's what happens when you see live content, right? That's what it's all about. Seeing this kind of average stuff. There's the evolution, so now they're not going to be able to take a knockout on this Zamazenta with anything. The only thing that they could realistically do now is retreat into the Articuno and pass, which is not very good. Looks like they are setting themselves up for a second V. I'm not convinced that this is a good place for them to be. I'm just going to Assault Tackle. Yes, I'm aware I can't attach energy. I don't know why all these things are popping up for me now. This Dedenne will survive, obviously resisting a little bit as well, so 50 damage left on the Dedenne. But we're just going to have to sit back. We've got access to Great Catcher, so if they ever do bring up something that we don't want them to be bringing up, they want to stall, then we can use Dedenne on the bench and get that knockout there. They've got 3 turns though, so I'm feeling like we're probably in a position to win, even if they do go into something like this. Lapras coming out, there's the knockout on the Zacian V, so that is very, very big. Let's have a look here and see how many switches they've used, how many energies they've used. They've used 2 and 3, so this is not ideal. We may be about to lose, guys. We may be about to lose. This could potentially be horrific. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to Great Catcher. I'm going to bring up that Dedenne, and I'm going to take 2 prizes. And hopefully we can manage to find something where they just boss us out and win the game. That's probably the way that they're going to go about it. Eldegoss, there you go. If we have one more turn, we win the game. One more turn, we win. But we probably don't have one more turn here. I can sense a Dedenne getting knocked out here. There it goes. Oh, they're even going for the Crobat. That's kind of them. Yeah, not well played by me. But you can see the way some of those cards work, I guess. I recorded this one really late. I'm sorry, everyone. I probably shouldn't even be putting this out, but here it is. You're watching it. So there you have it. That's a disaster. Probably not my best work, but that's okay. It's the first deck we've looked at for Darkness Ablaze, and it was not super good, but hey, that's okay. There's always opportunities to learn and grow. There's going to be a lot of better decks coming out along the way, so please check out the channel. We'll probably do ADP Zacian again a little bit later on. Make sure that we do it a bit of justice, because that definitely wasn't good enough, but that's okay. If you have enjoyed this for whatever reason, maybe you like to see me lose, which is fair enough. I'd like to see that as well, then please consider subscribing. Click the button that's above the Sableye. Now, on the left-hand side, we have a bunch of videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, and down the bottom right, we have a playlist for more of our stuff from Darkness Ablaze. This is the first thing that's coming out. I'm not sure I should even release this, but I don't have time to do something else. Maybe I should reconsider the day-by-day uploads. Anyway, that's fine. We'll see you next time, guys. Have a good one.